Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call!
Bueller?
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller?
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
Late jokes.
You're mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimblett to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello, classmates. Welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class Movie Review Edition. I'm your host for this episode, Tyler.
I'm Joseph.
And I'm Peter.
We are reviewing my pick on the Wheel of Destiny, Fisher King.
It could happen to anyone.
Oh, God.
One day you're on top of the world. The next day,
Let the bomb go!
you're in the world of the Fisher King. Now, Jack is about to do something he's never done before.
Isn't she a vision?
Help someone else.
I thought things would change for me.
I love this guy!
The Fisher King. Rated R.
I am glad that trailer was not as long as I thought it was going to be.
I found a 30-second trailer.
I was just like, oh, man, really? So Fisher King, for those who don't know, it's about a former radio shock jock and a homeless man in Manhattan that embark on a whimsical journey in Terry Gilliam's 1991 fantasy comedy drama. The two men are unknowingly linked by their pasts and help each other on a quest for the Holy Grail. The Fisher King is a direct adaptation of Percival, The Story of the Grail, a 12th century Arthurian book by Criterion de Troyes. The film features Jeff Bridges and Robin Williams. I'm not going to read the last prefix of that sentence because it says in two of their most brilliant roles, which I completely disagree with.
Okay.
However, yeah, this was something. This was something. So let's just jump into some initial thoughts. Joseph, what did you think of The Fisher King?
Well, I didn't know it was directed by Terry Gilliam going into it.
Me neither.
So I was surprised by that, and I was kind of excited about it. We reviewed Brazil a while ago,
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed that.
Several years ago.
Weird that we've reviewed two Gilliam movies on this show.
Yeah,
Of all the directors we've doubled up on.
I'm sure there's been others.
Yeah, there's been, I think, one or two. Nolan, I think.
Eggers.
Did we review The Witch? We did review The Lighthouse.
We did The Witch and the Lighthouse.
Witch,
yeah.
The Lighthouse.
Witch
The Lighthouse
was episode
Part
2,
two.
I think.
Yeah. So yeah, Fisher King. No idea what it was about at all going into it. And so I was just kind of like blank canvas, no expectations. And start off with Jeff Bridges being the shock jock, sort of asshole, like successful asshole.
Yeah.
In the late 80s / early 90s. It kind of had a little bit of like a noir type of vibe in the beginning with like a voiceover
Yeah.
and like the music, not necessarily like the lighting or anything like that. That's just the vibe I got from the elements of noir into that. And then and very Gilliam-esque, there's a lot of angled shots, a lot of wide camera movements,
Dutch angles, yeah.
that fit into the story, and then the inciting incident, I guess, of the whole thing where Jeff Bridges, his character Jack Lucas, right?
Yeah.
Fall from grace, is someone who becomes guilt ridden, and ends up working at a rental video store. Was an interesting turn in the very, very beginning of the movie. And it was a shocking event in which causes that to happen. And overall, like I had, like I said, no expectations. And I think that by the end of it, I actually ended up kind of liking it. Maybe not a whole lot, but I thought it was pretty good. And the sort of wild Robin Williams performance was definitely like unhinged and crazy. But when he goes into those like episodes where he's like confronting the Red Knight,
Yeah.
it was kind of scary. And just him trying to deal with his own trauma and then like the relationship between them and how they're sort of connected was really interesting. And I like that story element and making them sort of be responsible for each other in a way in the story. And when we finally get the context of everything and you see the flashback, you kind of start sympathizing more with what's his name? Perry.
Yeah.
Perry. And Jeff Bridges, I think, his character Jack Lucas was a real piece of shit
Oh yeah.
for a lot of the movie.
Yeah.
even when he goes back to the hospital after Perry gets beaten up.
Yeah.
And he's just like hanging on by a thread. He's still that, and when he gets his redemption and he's back in hanging out with David Hyde Pierce,
Immediately he breaks up with his girlfriend who
Yeah.
floated him the whole time. He was
Immediately.
homeless.
yeah, just like, oh, he is
Like
just
the next sentence.
Yeah.
he is just a terrible person
Yeah.
at heart. And then he has another sort of redemption arc after that.
Yeah.
And they end up by the very end of the movie, the very last sequence, comes back a little full circle a little bit.
Yeah.
And I liked it. I liked the way the story was written, and I liked the performances of the two leads, and especially the love interest. I thought she did a really good job, and I believe she was even she won an Oscar for it or nominated
Interesting.
for
I know
it. Because she was eclectic herself. Mercedes Rule,
Yeah.
the Jeff Bridges' girlfriend, she won Best Actress in a Supporting Role for this movie.
Got it.
And then
Interesting. She did, I wouldn't have expected that as an Oscar-winning performance, but it was
Yeah.
good.
Robin Williams was nominated Best Writing or Best Screenplay, Best Art Direction, and Best Music.
Interesting.
Were all up for Oscars. But yeah, I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I don't think I liked it quite as much as like Brazil, but seeing the setting and like having just gone to New York, I was like, hey, I walked right by that statue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was. I know like tons of movies and shows are set in New York, but it was just like cool to actually now have that environmental context
Yeah.
there. But yeah, I liked it.
Cool. Pete, I know this wasn't your first time watching it, and you said you didn't like it the first time. Are you warm to it now?
Well, I'm going to say ostensibly this is my first time watching because I don't remember almost any of it.
Huh.
I remember the scene where he tries to give him a bunch of money and then he gives it up to another homeless guy. And I remember the characters, but not the motivations. And I don't remember the inciting incident of the whole thing. I don't remember why. I don't even remember Jeff Bridges' character being cast out from society. Like I thought he was in total good standing the whole time in my mind. So, so I essentially am rewatching this for the first time, and I thought it was great. Really liked it. Yeah, I loved the characters. I think it's a perfect role for Robin Williams because he's manic and frenetic, and he's supposed to be charming, but also super weird and a lot. Like he's supposed to be a lot. He's supposed to be hard to handle, and when he gets hooked up with Amanda Plummer's character, she's a weirdo and they match each other's freak in the very real way.
Yeah.
So he was perfect in the role. Jeff Bridges was perfect as that total douchebag shock jock radio host. And I have to imagine he was somewhere between a cross between Howard Stern and Tom Likas. That he's
that's what I thought.
over the top misogynistic sort of mentality with Tom Likas, but also just using people for the benefit of the show, like Howard Stern. Like I think he's more mean-spirited than Howard Stern.
Yeah.
I think Howard Stern just likes to let things play out on their own and like just provide commentary, but not push things. Where like Likas is maybe like them two plus Opie and Anthony. Like a gang cosmic gangbang of those three douchebags.
And that's a new word or a new phrase. Cosmic gangbang. Nice.
But I thought that the storyline was interesting, and it's funny because maybe it's because I do remember some of when I watched it the first time. But he's giving the guy, he's like, it's us versus them, man. Da, 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 da. And I was like, wouldn't it be wild if that guy just went out and like killed a bunch of people? And then that's what happens. That's the inciting incident. And the thing I really like about Gilliam is that he's like cooking with all the spices. He's like his spice levels
Yeah.
to the fucking roof
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
You know, a person is having a mental breakdown. They are literally flopping around like a fish in the middle of the street. You know, the guy has got a vision of something terrible happening. It's this psychotic, absolute menacing red knight.
Yeah.
You know, and I think this is I think Brazil was more impressive from like a set perspective because it's like they fully built all these sets, but and it looked very liminal and strange and whatever. But this felt more grounded in a reality, and it felt like something that could actually happen. It just made you, the way that he shoots it with that Dutch angles, constant zoom ins. You're like, it's like I watched Amelie, rewatched Amelie this week too, and talk about it for streaming picks. But that guy Jean-Pierre Jeunet is very similar. Who he's got that like, it's almost like the camera's like always right up in the like the main character's face, or the character on screen. Doesn't even have to be the main character. But the way he shoots it, it makes you feel almost a little gross, like you're so connected to these people. And when it's a douchebag character like Jeff Bridges, you feel attached to that person, and it makes him feel even more gross because you're like right next to him. It's not like, ooh, look at that douchebag over there. It's like I'm lockstep with them. I'm shoulder to shoulder on the subway with this asshole, you know?
Yeah.
So I liked that. I thought it was, I didn't quite understand. I thought there was going to be a little bit more when he starts falling for Amanda Plummer.
Yeah.
And you're like, wouldn't he be mourning his wife still? There's no conversation about, oh, it's too soon.
Oh,
you know what I mean? They kind of gloss over that, and I feel like that was a missed opportunity in the screenplay, because the whole reason why he is the way he is because of the trauma that he witnessed. And when you see the actual trauma, it's really, really traumatic.
Yeah.
Like you use the euphemism blowing someone's brains out.
Yeah.
In this, it's actually,
It's visceral.
it's visualized, and it's not like, again, it's not like, because of the way they shoot it, it's not like it's happening to somebody over there. They're having a face-to-face conversation when she gets destroyed.
Yeah.
And what's left of her head is all over his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit. No wonder this guy's lost his marbles.
Yeah.
So I thought it was very effective. I thought it was all good. It had some turns which I didn't expect. The fact that he turns on his girlfriend so quickly after he comes back in his mind back into power was like, yeah, what a dick. And I kind of wish they would have just let him be an asshole and fail a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because it's like he makes that turn so quickly, and then within a week or two or a couple of days or whatever it is, you don't get the exact timeline, he's back to her again, and like tail between his legs and repenting. And it's like, I don't know if she should take him back. That's so egregious. You know?
Yeah.
So anyways, really loved it. Thought it was great. I was expecting, I had my arms crossed, waiting to be underwhelmed, and I had a great time. So good pick, Angie.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, when I first initially finished the movie, I thought, okay, what did I just watch? It felt like a fever dream. And then after sitting on it for a few hours, I'm a little bit more warmer to it. I think that there is a lot of ideas presented, like on a not existential level, but like more heady stuff that wasn't really explored, like the implication of you blaming yourself for a mass murder. I felt like you didn't really get like the emotional impact that Jeff Bridges' character like would be going through if he really truly felt he was at fault for that. And then Robin Williams' character was just annoying as all hell. I wish they like peppered in a little bit more saged wisdom coming from his crazy antics instead of like just a few scenes. And then, yeah, I mean, I was kind of like, it like you said, Pete, like it felt like Gilliam was using all the spices, and it felt a little overwhelming for me. But everyone everyone did a great job in it. I thought like the performances were fine. I just thought that the direction in the story like felt a little disjointed, and it almost felt like he was holding back on some of the greater ideas of the story that he was presenting. And then the Red Knight thing was awesome. At first I wasn't like a fan of it, but like at the end of the movie when it reappears, like it makes sense. And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it was a fine movie. And I mean, I'm pretty lukewarm on it. But I didn't hate it. I didn't have a bad time watching it. It really made me like, it really kept your attention though with a lot of like the way that the movie's directed. So yeah, The Fisher King was great.
It was great.
It was great.
I mean, I use that term loosely.
Yeah, you use most words loosely.
Yeah, I do. So it was a fine film.
Okay, cool.
So yeah,
Did you have high expectations?
The expectation I had was the story being completely different than it was.
What'd you think the story was going to be about?
About a fish. He's a king.
The king of all the fishermen.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was gonna be more so about Robin Williams being more of the main focus of the movie, and him being like the king of like the homeless people in New York City,
King of the bums.
and somehow Jeff Bridges just stumbles upon, much like kind of like Under the Silver Lake with the Hobo King. Like I thought it was gonna go that route.
Got it.
Then where it did, and I think the story was fine. It's just I think that the ideas that were presented weren't explored upon enough. And I agree with you too, Pete. He should not have gotten the girl in the end. That was totally an executive decision, like a Hollywood executive decision. Because I bet you Terry Gilliam was like, no, he doesn't get the girl in the end. And then the money makers are like, yeah, no, you can't have that kind of ending. Not in 1991.
They don't really say how much time. Did they say how much time has passed?
They don't.
No.
I mean, I imagine it's like a few years.
You think so?
Yeah, because he's hot, like riding high, Jack Lucas, at his job.
Well, it does say 3 years later once he
does?
falls
Oh, it does?
from. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I missed that part.
I just asked that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, so it was 3 years later. Okay. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's different state like levels of grief, and like how long is too long? Is it do you move on at all? Do you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously a subjective thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about from the inciting incident till later?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant from the time that he gets back and then he tries to take his woman back.
Oh no.
Okay.
Well, like
I want to say it was 3 years. I thought it was.
I think it did say 3 years.
Yeah.
It did say 3 years later after that, after the shooting.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, you're never not grieving, right? When somebody in your life passes away.
Different degrees of level, different degrees.
But like when you decide to move on and continue with your life, obviously he put a halt to his own life.
Yeah.
It's so much to a point where he doesn't even have a life.
Yeah.
Or his life anymore. I mean, it didn't bother me that much.
I don't think it's necessary. The timeline is not what bothered me. It's just the fact they didn't comment on it at all. You know, if his character wasn't that way because of the traumatic thing that happened, it would be different. It's like if his wife just died 3 years ago, and you know that has nothing to do with the why now that he's crazy and homeless and all this kind of stuff. It wouldn't be worth mentioning. But at least one small line, you know, when he's putting the suit on him and he's like, you know, I don't know if I should be doing this.
You know, I'm over my wife dying.
I feel like maybe I'm betraying her. And he's like, it's been 3 years, man. You're fine. And then move on to the next thing. Just something small like that.
Yeah, but I mean, like he got triggered just by seeing like a reflection of himself, like after dropping off Lydia.
Maybe
maybe
it's because that he's denying his entire past life, so he's not going to bring it up because he's not even. They said he has a different first name. His real name isn't even Perry.
Oh, what was it?
I don't remember.
Like Pierce. No, it wasn't. It was like Marvin or something like that. I don't know. It doesn't matter because it doesn't. I don't even know what
Percival, Perry. Get it?
Yeah.
Perry with an A.
Yeah, which is weird.
I mean,
Like Perry, like a
Yeah,
sword fighting.
but yeah, I mean, I think that I think that there was some aspects of the movie where it's like we didn't even need to know the information. Like his whole role of being like the king of the hobos, like didn't have any effect on what the story was about to come to be. It could have just been him just catatonic and then him just like breaking out, and then Jeff Bridges comes along, his manic episode, and then that's where their adventures begin. And that's when I was saying, like, you know, I like the idea of Robin Williams jumping around, like, you know, with all of it. Well, he kind of does in the movie, but I don't know. I really wanted to see more of Perry than Jeff Bridges' character. Jeff Bridges was just such a... he was good. He played a good role for what he was given, but like his character, I just was really not... I was interested in it, but since they didn't dive deep into like his psychosis of him just like quitting working and then just living with his girlfriend.
Did they say he quit? Or did he?
Oh no! Or was he outcasted?
I don't think. Well,
I mean, maybe he just.
Pariah or something?
It could be everybody stopped listening to his show, and then the company was like, "Well, this is not making any money, so we can't have your show anymore."
But when he reaches back out to his agent, he's like, "Oh yeah, we'll start tomorrow." Almost like the demand's there. So I'm assuming because of that one detail, he did leave on his own accord, and he's clearly tortured. Yeah. He stays up at night drinking Jack Daniels. Looking at newspaper clippings and basically blaming himself for it, which maybe for good reason. You should be blaming yourself.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't really.
It's not. He didn't do it, but he's basically preying on a mentally ill person. You have to know that person calling into your show, a regular, they know him by first name. The caller's trying to like tell him he met a gorgeous woman, and he immediately is negging him. Immediately he's telling him you'll never get that person. They're not like you. You're a worm. You're nothing. And then he's like, it's us versus them. Go do something about it.
Go do something about it.
I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, to some degree, it's like manslaughter at that almost. You know, being
it's like an accessory.
Yeah, like being the like instigator to that, like.
But he didn't explicitly direct him to go out and kill 7 people at a nightclub.
It didn't help.
So you're saying that Trump was not the reason for January 6th?
Well, I mean, I know we're not going to get into politics. But
okay.
That's our president you're talking about.
President-elect.
Yes.
But, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that because of the nature of his show, he could probably have a little bit more of a leeway of saying something like that. But
what does that have to do with anything? Just because he's said shitty things in the past, he's allowed to say it again in the future?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there was probably like, you know, a producer would have been like, cut the line. But because
I don't think any of them. They were feeding into it. They were hooting and hollering and clapping their hands like freaking seals in the box. You know,
in the booth.
I like that shot though of him in this like the room, and it's almost like a cage. Like there's angled walls and this like huge shadow. Yeah, weird. I mean, that's reminding me of anything. That scene reminded me of Brazil.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I mean, Jeff Bridges has just like an olive oil of a voice.
Oh, it's great. It's so good.
I was like, who is this? This is Jeff Bridges' voice on a professional radio mic? Damn.
Do you guys actually think that they were going to go get the Grail?
What do you mean?
That was a funny part to me.
Because he says,
he does get the A Grail.
I know, but like at the beginning of the movie when he says, oh, you think the Holy Grail's up in, you know,
it was like some
Upper Middle Side or whatever.
Yeah,
he says Upper East Side. And then he goes, yeah, that's my mission is to go get it for God.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, are they going to break into this guy's house? You know, I'm just trying to think about what's going to happen next.
Church?
It's not a church, it's a house.
It's a house, looks like a church.
It does. Yeah. It looks like a freaking museum or something.
It's probably a church, but...
I mean...
Oh, castle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a Catholic church.
It's that quote, I know filmmakers use subtext. Those filmmakers are cowards. That's Terry Gilliam putting the Holy Grail in a house shaped like a castle. He calls himself a knight. He sees the Red Knight.
Yeah.
Which is funny because he directed the Holy Grail. Terry Gilliam.
Yeah.
He also played
Monty Python.
Yeah, Monty Python, the Holy Grail. He also played Patsy the horse in the Holy Grail and the old bridge keeper.
I keep forgetting he's from Monty Python.
Is your favorite color?
I keep forgetting that he comes from that.
Yeah.
Monty Python.
This is the first movie he directed that didn't have any Python members in the cast.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I thought that that whole sequence of events of him getting the Grail, I liked the build up to it, like him going into the mental hospital and he's just like, fine, I'll do it. I am not doing it for me. I'm doing it for you. Blah, blah, blah.
He had a whole but like range of emotions.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not responsible for you. I don't care about you. To like, I'm gonna do this for you.
Yeah.
I like that, but what I didn't like was the hard cut of him dressed up like a homeless person with a grappling hook and a rope. It's like, where did he get all this? What was the motivation by changing his outfit?
He's dressed as Perry.
Yeah, he's wearing Perry's night outfit
But why does he need that?
Well, because he's doing it for him.
because he wants to blame Perry if he gets caught.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
It wasn't
that
me.
much of a dick?
It wasn't me. It
I
was
didn't
that
even
homeless
put
guy.
2 and 2 together.
I don't know how that would work. He would get
just
caught.
kidding.
He would get caught. It's not me. It was him.
They see.
That man was in a coma.
Yeah, it was him. I did
Now
think
who's crazy?
I did think when he puts the trophy on his chest,
Yeah.
the Grail, and he goes, "All right, Perry, here you go, man," and he leaves. I thought the next morning, what if the cops were there and they're like, he did it. He's sleeping out at night and committing grand larceny and B&Es all over New York City.
I liked how once he finally he got into the castle, like, and he sees the billionaire like actively dying in his chair.
Is he dying?
He overdosed. He took a whole bottle of pills.
Oh, I thought he was just hella drunk and passed out.
And he's just like, it's like shaking away. He's like, come on, man. It reminded me, he was like channeling his inner, the dude. He's like, come on, man, wake up. And
Honestly,
then he looks around and he's like,
this reminded me of like, he is just a non-stoner, successful dude.
yeah.
He's like the dude before he chilled out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point because then he made all his money in radio and then he just chilled out. Yeah.
There was a couple of lines in there where I'm like, he's very much channeling the dude.
Yeah.
And that was in 98, so that was 7 years later after this.
Oh, so he was channeling Jack Lucas.
That's right.
For Lebowski.
That's right. I'm not Lebowski, man. I'm the dude. Or his dudeness, or
Duderino.
Duderino, if you're not into the brevity thing.
Yeah, I love
Or,
that.
or Duder.
Duder.
Before this, Jeff Bridges was in Texasville, The Fabulous Baker Boys, which was where he was discovered by Gilliam. And then afterwards, he did American Heart, The Vanishing Fearless, and one of my streaming picks, Blown Away, most recently. Loved that. It was so good. And then before The Fisher King, Terry Gilliam had directed The Adventures of Baron Munchausen and then Brazil just before that.
Oh, okay.
This was just before 12 Monkeys, which is funny because that's heavily features insane asylums as well.
Yeah.
And Gilliam really knows how to make an asylum seem really depressing.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
I know
Yes, he
I know
does.
inherently it's depressing, but
Like,
they could make it a little bit nicer.
it looks like hell.
Yeah, put some flowers in there
mean-
or something.
I mean, that movie specifically is dystopian future along with Brazil.
12
You know,
Monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, this is very bleak.
Yeah.
Very bleak. It has like a different type of gritty. Like,
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
dirty.
Yeah.
It's very dirty.
It's like fisheye dirty.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I really got to applaud what?
I've heard, yeah. You really like to gulp right into the mic.
Sorry. I really liked the just sheer patience that the main character Jack has with Robin Williams, because I feel like no one would have the patience for this man to do anything.
Well, he feels guilty. That guilt is a hell of a thing.
I don't think it's strong enough though. I really don't think. I mean, I'm not going for realism in most movies that I watch, unless it's physical harm. But I don't know, man. Like, that's why I wish that they really went more into like the emotional turmoil that he was experiencing, and that could have probably for myself made a little bit more sense as to why he was so patient.
Well, he's
with Robin
he's suppressing
Williams.
that those feelings.
Yeah.
For sure. Like throughout the whole movie, he's doing that. And then when he breaks down in the hospital talking to a comatose Perry, he goes through those different stages of like anger, and then
I really like that.
so like that was like his like, I feel like
Inner
his
machinations.
snapped moment,
Yeah.
where he like finally let it out. I feel like, and decided like I am a shitty person, and I'm gonna do something to make it seem like I'm not as shitty.
And then he just goes back and becomes a shitty person. Were you guys shocked when he said he was going to break up with his woman?
Pretty sure we covered this already.
That happened before.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, I was shocked.
I was shocked.
It happens. It happens after he gets the grail and he's like, "I'm feeling good." Or wait, no, maybe
That's before.
I'm confusing the. Okay,
But no, it is shocking. It's
I remember my mouth was like, "What the fuck?"
when he hangs up. He's like, "I got it. I got the job back." And then she's all excited and she starts saying, maybe we can get a bigger place.
Mm-hmm.
In my head, and he goes, "We should talk." And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if he broke up with her right now? What a dick move that would be. And then he does it. I'm like, oh my God, it's like I watched this movie before.
Yeah. It was a very sad scene because she's like, she's like pleading, kind of pleading with him and like letting him know her true feelings about him. And he's like, well, why do you want to be with someone like me? It's like, it was a sad scene to watch.
And then he ignored the Audrey Hepburn wannabe person in the courtyard when he's going in for that interview for a TV sitcom. He's like, "Jack, don't you remember me? Don't you remember me, Jack? Why aren't you speaking to me?"
Michael Jeter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a sad scene because you could see
Airbuds owner.
Yeah.
because you could see
His little
And Mr. Jangles owner.
candygram that he
Impressive.
Yeah, it was very good.
Brianna looked over him and she goes, "What would you do if one of your employees had like a singing gram come to them in the office like this? Like, let him finish and ask him to leave? I gotta watch this thing."
What's a candygram?
Yeah. Ooh, I want one.
That was cool. I like his character in this.
It was good.
Because he has a very kind of heartbreaking story. Because when he's like laying in Jack's lap or whatever, and he's like, "So did you like? Was it like a gradual thing, or did you just like one day or?" And then it's almost like he
is being
just
a
like-
therapist.
no. Michael Jeter's character is like he becomes like lucid.
Yeah.
Just all of
yeah.
a sudden, like he's just putting on an act the whole time, and then he becomes lucid. He's like, "Well, I was a singer in a club, and then one day I just realized something that like, what's the point of everything or whatever?"
And all of his friends
and then
died.
watching all of my friends die as well.
He's like, "I sound like a veteran."
They say that when a lot of ladies have that like kind of like kid voice, like a sexy baby voice.
Mm-hmm.
It could be an indication there was like sexual trauma in the past.
Really?
It's almost like you're reverting to this infantilized state, or you're whatever, or almost like you're rejecting yourself as your reality and substituting for a different personality. I feel in that moment when he becomes lucid and breaks that character, it rings true in that it's like there's this heavy trauma in his life.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to be myself. I want to be this other version of me.
Yeah.
And
He's a good singer.
It is very sad. Yeah, and Dynamite singer, great legs.
Singer.
Yeah.
And then also we have
Hey baby, those legs go all the way up or what?
we also have a really great I believe uncredited role with Tom Waits.
Tom Waits
in the bus station.
Yeah.
He had a pretty good monologue about I can't remember exactly what he said, but I remember it being like a really like insightful way of looking at the homeless people.
He was good.
In the city.
There's one part where somebody throws money at him and misses the cup, and he goes, "Fuck you, man." He said, "They didn't even look at you," and he says, "They're giving me money so they don't have to look at me."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's the first
Good old Tom Waits.
That's the first time that you see Jeff Bridges' character's wheels turning a little bit and making connections that
Well, that's why like
I'm a shithead.
And I really liked how he runs out of that meeting with that bigwig about that TV sitcom he was going to write for. He's like, get this, 3 crazy homeless people that we follow.
So on that note, where did they? Is that just a funny thing that it's
What?
the plot of this sitcom is exactly what he was dealing with?
Yeah, I think that was like the irony of it all.
But I mean, in the universe, how did they come up with that?
Oh, I don't know.
Is it just some writers that are being harassed by Robin Williams and his friends, and they're like, "Wouldn't this be funny to turn into a sitcom?" And they're just having a separate interaction with Perry and his friends.
I think it was kind of like a thing to make fun of back in the day. Like, wasn't that like a caricature of like real homeless people, like where they would be like kooky? And this was like after the Reagan years, where he got rid of the funding for like state institutions. So.
Just let them all go.
So they just let them all go. So I think that just became like something in the media. I'm not sure. I didn't grow up in that era, but it's kind of sounds right. I was gonna say something.
No,
else.
I'm not saying why did they write that. I'm just saying the plot of the sitcom was exactly the characters that we just experienced for the last 45 minutes.
Oh,
so
okay.
In the universe, they're writing about real homeless people that live in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Or is it just that makes Jeff Bridges' character go mad because he's like, fuck, really?
That's an interesting thought. I don't know. I would imagine I would like to think like there would be like some like studio executive being like, you know what, I can make a sitcom about that man and that man too.
Yeah, that sounded like kind of a good Jeff Bridges impression right at the end there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He kind of went. It's like that kind of lower,
register.
lower marbly voice.
Yeah.
We haven't to hear your Robin Williams impression.
I was hoping you guys would forget about that.
Yeah. So I want you to do the scene where what scene should we have him do for the Robin Williams impression?
I'm trying to even think.
I could do my least favorite scene is when Jeff Bridges is getting beaten up by those guys and they're gonna light him on fire.
I know.
Oh, by the way, one of those guys was the same character, the same actor who played Robin Williams' son in The Birdcage.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. How about this? On the quotes on IMDb.
Okay. Perfect.
There's 3 things in this world that you need: respect for all kinds of life, a nice bowel movement on a regular basis, and a navy blazer.
Oh, I do.
Great
like
line.
That one.
Yeah, great line.
Let me pull
Navy
that
blazer
up.
is perfect.
I'm gonna pull that up here really quick.
Pull what up?
The quote. I can't remember that verbatim.
It's one sentence.
Yeah, I can't do that. Come on.
You don't have to say it exactly line for line.
No, I do. If I have to do it like that.
Okay.
Trying to think of his voice. There's 3 things. It's hard to get that like right pitch.
It reminds me of. Do you guys ever watch College Humor back in the day?
Yeah.
So there's this character, real life person, Amir on there. Amir
Jake and Amir.
Cohen. Yeah, Jake and Amir. So Amir and Streeter had a prank war that went back and forth for years, and it was like 7 or 8 pranks they would prank each other back and forth on. And one of them was that Streeter basically had him submit an audition tape for a fake like sketch comedy show, like an SNL type show, and had him do all these prompts and then record them, and then they played it at a staff meeting and had him walk in on it halfway through after everybody already seen the whole thing. And it was like the most ridiculous things. It was like a tuna sandwich about to get eaten, and he's like, "Oh, don't eat me!" And then, but one of them was Robin Williams doing something, and his Robin Williams impression was painful.
Yeah,
Painful.
well,
so
get
Tyler,
ready
go ahead and top that,
Yeah,
please.
get ready to get hurt. There's 3 things in the world that you need: respect of all kinds of life, a nice bowel movement on a regular basis, and a navy blazer.
Very good.
The energy was
very
right.
good. Very good.
The energy was right.
I think it might be your best one yet, actually.
I know. I remember him doing an Obama one. That was pretty good.
Tyler's Obama is like we're at the inauguration.
Hold on, I'm
going to pull up Obama quote.
Say the same thing, but Obama.
Well, there's 3 things in this world that you need: respect of all kinds of life, a nice bowel movement on a regular basis, and a navy blazer. Thank you, America.
Oh,
Barack Obama.
I could do this shit all day.
wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it was. Honestly, that may actually be, unironically, your best impression. Very good.
Too bad it's racist.
How was it racist?
It's racist.
Dang it.
Dirty little mud grub.
Well,
Heather said in the chat the fact that she takes him back at the end is a reference to the original text, to the Percival story.
Oh.
So it makes sense within the context of like retelling the story that way. I don't know anything about Percival except for just the broad strokes, Holy Grail.
yeah.
But it is funny how Gilliam does the Holy Grail and then does this with the Holy Grail focused on it.
He likes the Holy Grail.
It's set in a nut house, in parts of it at least.
He also did Don Quixote.
Yeah, which is an inspiration for a lot of the quotes in this and a lot of the character, sort of disillusionment, you know.
Which is, it's funny because, similar type of character in Don Quixote, and then he does that movie, Don Quixote.
Yeah.
Which is also weird.
I mean, and directors, they operate in themes that they're passionate about. And Nolan always, many times focuses on like time loop aspects and sort of time mismanagement or time bending sort of stuff. So it wouldn't be, outside the realm to do very similar projects as a director.
Yeah.
You guys caught the Nutcracker thing. Or that's not a Nutcracker. It's like a doll that he straps to his...
Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Is it Pinocchio?
Yeah, it's Pinocchio.
He straps to his concrete
yes,
shoes.
Concrete shoes. That was so funny. He's going to kill himself.
And
He's got
then-
the concrete shoes on.
And Robin has it at the end.
Yeah. That's a good one.
But yeah, the local toughs that are like beating like the
Why are they beating up these homeless people?
for what? No, he gets her in.
you shouldn't be in this neighborhood.
And they're under a bridge.
He says, we're sick of seeing you here.
Then stop coming over here.
And the guy, at the point where Perry gets beaten horribly, he was just wearing regular clothes. He could have been some random person walking.
He deserved it.
He deserved it.
Him and Rick Moranis.
It reminded me, like, they're just going out setting homeless people on fire because they're just terrible people.
Oh, yeah.
And
I never even thought about it, the fact that they're just doing it because he's homeless.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. I didn't make two and two connect.
And Jeff Bridges was just a drunk. He wasn't even homeless.
It reminded me of Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yes.
But that's the extreme version, obviously.
Yeah.
Where they just kill homeless people and torture them for fun.
Yeah.
I think that, unfortunately,
about that
I think
movie.
there's a shitty subsection of humanity that does do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they features that in American Psycho.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, why don't you get a job? It's like,
You smell like shit.
yeah, it's so, that's such a glib sort of thing to say to like a homeless person.
How about you get a job?
I know.
How about that?
What if you get a job, man? It's like, okay, well,
I'll just get a job.
I don't
I'll
have
just get a
clothes, a place to shower.
Yeah.
I'm fighting mental illness and substance abuse.
job.
I'll just go apply for Target.
Yeah.
They'll probably hire me.
No, you just apply for like FedEx. They'll take anyone with a pulse.
Tyler's a rival over there.
No, we're all brothers.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we are.
I guess some trivia. Howard Stern was the basis of comparison for the character, Jeff Bridges' character.
Oh, okay.
They wanted to base him on it, and the studio reached out to Stern to try to get some of his tapes for reference guides. And he said he was going to be a consultant, but after reading the script, he quit and he basically said, "Why would a DJ want to become homeless after so much publicity? I'd go back on even if I were in the middle of a vacation after that."
Oh God.
And he eventually denied giving them the reference tapes because they wanted to like pay him or something. There was some dispute or whatever, but ultimately no. James Cameron was slated to direct this, but he was doing Terminator 2 at the time.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be an interesting change of events.
Kevin Kline was considered for the character of Jack Lucas, Jeff Bridges' character. Which I like Kevin Kline a lot, but I like the casting of this.
Mm-hmm.
Robin Williams turned down What About Bob so he could do this movie.
I did know that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mercedes Rule and David Hyde Pierce both play radio. Well, David Hyde Pierce plays Frasier's brother, but Mercedes Rule is the board op in Frasier. She also is the mom in True Lies. That's where you might know her from, and also the mom in Big.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
When he comes down in the tiny underwear,
Yeah.
and she like threatens to kill him. What'd you do with my son? I'm like that. Oh, it's a terrifying implication. This grown adult comes down in your child's underwear.
I know.
Your young boy's underwear?
You know, you never really think about it because it's so whimsical, and then
Oh, I thought about it when I rewatched it. I was like, oh my God. What did she think happened? She must be a wreck for the week that he's gone or whatever.
how traumatizing that would be.
And then the writer of this movie, Richard LaGravenese, he's done a ton of stuff. He directed, or he wrote The Ref, A Little Princess, The Bridges of Madison County, The Horse Whisperer, Beloved, Freedom Riders, Water for Elephants, Beautiful Creatures, Behind the Candelabra, and Disenchanted most recently, the sequel to Enchanted, that Amy Adams Disney-like movie.
Oh.
Yeah, which was a flop. So,
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm like going through the reviews on IMDb, like going through the low ratings.
Oh, I love doing
This
that.
one doesn't have any rating. It just says, I just think it's a funny review. Run out of ideas. This is what happens when Hollywood, what an irony, garbage would be more appropriate, runs out of ideas and uses the USA way of life to do films. I don't know what that means.
I don't know either.
Hollywood, more like
Garbage wood.
Know what I'm saying? What if instead of the Fisher King, what if it was called the Boner King?
What is called Boner Island.
I'm about to have the hardest
Boner
boner
King?
right now.
Anyway.
Anything else?
No, I think we covered pretty much all of it.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. I gotta go to the
What
bathroom.
about the Williams completely nude in the park?
Oh yeah,
That was unexpected.
You see his wang a little bit.
Just a little bit. They you could see like
you can see it's flopping.
Yeah, they blocked that.
They flagged the light.
Flagged the light. Yeah.
and then they're both out there at the end.
Yeah, I like that. I did like
The
that.
fireworks
in
at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
the
cool.
end.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, that was fun. Joseph, what would you grade Fisher King? The Fisher
I can't remember what I gave Brazil, but like an A-, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the story. Took some turns I didn't expect after not expecting anything going into it. But yeah, overall, I liked it quite a bit.
I'll give it a B+. I think I liked it more than Joseph's, but my grade's lower.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know.
See, that doesn't
basic.
have to.
Doesn't have to. Yeah. So I give it a B+. Yeah. Good
All
production, good acting. I liked the Chinese food scene too.
That
We didn't talk about that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was good. Man, yeah, and we didn't talk about like the first interaction in the video store.
all right. It's
That
okay.
was great. That was great. Well, everyone check out The Fisher King. I give this a solid A.
What?
Yeah.
You gave it.
We both definitely liked it more than you did.
Yeah.
You said it was a fine movie.
Yeah, it was. But after
These ratings mean nothing.
you don't understand the journey I go through when reviewing movies.
I'm going through a hero's journey in my brain. Every time I review a movie.
This is the first conversation I've had all week.
No, it isn't. But no, like, so a lot of people who have been longtime listeners of the show and the two only friends that I have don't understand the way I grade. But I'm gonna break it down to you because I think I can.
Please don't.
Next
don't.
up, save it for next.
Yeah,
episode.
please. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Let's wrap this up.
All right. Time for the Wheel of Destiny.
What? That's it. That's just an A. It's time for the wheel.
Yeah, time for the wheel. Let's go. Pete's gotta make his water.
8 slots, 3 hosts. This is
I'm trying to get these episodes
the
under
Wheel
an hour.
of Destiny.
Hour. Yeah. Hour each. Average. Yeah. All right. Now it's time for the Wheel of Destiny. Fisher King's off the wheel.
Yes.
What are we replacing it with, Tyler?
We're replacing this movie. I don't know why I was stammering over myself. It's gonna be Teeth.
Teeth. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Movie about a killer vagina.
Yes.
I was in her
Oh, right.
I only chose it's for. I'm sorry, my phone froze. For 2007's Teeth. Yeah, it's a really. I can't remember if it's good or not, but I did watch it and remember enjoying it. Like, it's
got a fun premise.
Yeah.
I think that's an actual medical condition too. You grow teeth in your hoo-ha.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
medically accurate, like Human Centipede.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've only seen it once, so I would like to see it through a critical eye. So that's it.
I've been subjected to that disorder, and I've come up victorious. No, I no longer have teeth in my vagina. All right, let's recap the wheel. We have Teeth from Tyler, Killing of a Sacred Deer from Tyler, Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2 from Joseph, Mystery Men from Joseph, Flypaper from Angry Otter, Falling in Love Like in Movies from Pete, and Hell Comes to Frogtown from Pete. What was our last week's episode?
That was mine.
Okay, cool.
Wasn't it?
So it's not a double up. I think it was yours, yeah. Okay, so we're going to spin this Wheel of
The
Destiny.
Hunt. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's it, The Hunt. And this is going to be what we watch next week. Let's see here.
Solid
A
spin.
good lubed up spin there. Mystery Man.
Oh, boy. Mystery Man.
Another Joseph episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mystery Man, quick search if it's streaming anywhere.
Yeah, let's see.
It is streaming on Prime.
Heather says she loves herself some Mystery Men, so
Yeah, I remember
it's a fun one.
enjoying it a lot. Came out in 1999.
It's on Prime. Sweet.
Got quite a cast. So yeah, I'm excited.
I don't know any. Well, I know about it, but I haven't seen it. So cool. We'll watch that next week. Follow along on Amazon Prime. But thank you to our cool ass yard duties over on Patreon. That's Javier, Heather, Michael, Steven, and Chris. And if you want to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass, or just watch or listen on the YouTube page. That helps too. Thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers. It really means a lot. Until next time. Thank you for joining us as we gab and chatter. We talk about the Fisher King, and Tyler gives us 4 banger impressions.
Yeah.
Follow us next week as we review Mystery Man, streaming on Amazon Prime. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class, and leave us a voicemail at 209-283-1716.
Follow us on Twitter at Podcast MCFC and on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class.
All right, we'll see you on the YouTube page later.
Later. Say the same thing, but Obama.
Class dismissed.
I gotta get out of here. The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
You're free to go.
See you next week. See you later. See you later. That's a wrap. Great show.